Red Misfire. Red Misfire.
Welcome to the first episode of Direct Misfire. This is our first battle report, Tomb Kings versus Ogre Kingdoms, 2,500 points. To start off, we'll go through army lists. So first up is my Tomb King list, which is a Tomb Prince with the Dragonbane gem, Light High Priest, which is a level 4 on Nehek with the Obsidian Amulet and the Law of... I've already gone through that, Law of Nehek. Level 4 Light with Power Stone, and that is it for magic users. Then we go on to 53 Skeleton Archers, full command. 10 Archers with a Muso, 10 Archers with a Muso. 5 Horse Archers, 5 Horse Archers. The War Kitty with Fiery Breath. 3 Stalkers, 8 Ashabdi or Ashabdi Dubbity. Full command, 3 Carrion, Tomb Scorpion, the Hero Titan, and the Casket of Souls.
And for my army, the Ogres, I was running a Tyrant with Sword of Anti-Heroes and 3-up save, a Bruiser BSB with the Standard of Discipline. I have 2 Firebellies, the actual Firebelly with the Dispel Scroll, and a Ogre Butcher with a bad case of indigestion, thus giving him a fiery belly. He had the Luck Stone. For my core, I had 3 units of Ogres, that's one being a block of 8 and 2 blocks of 6. I also had 15 Noblars, just because, a unit of 3 Yetis, and 2 units of Lead Belchers, and I've also got a Cannon, and a unit of 2, or maybe it was 3, 2 or 3 Mournfang and 2 Kittens.
Now we're going to run through magic. So we'll start off with the Tomb King magic. For the Law of Nehek, I got Protection, Desiccation, Righteous Smiting, and I took the signature spell, which is Desert Wind. For the Light Mage, Fast Protection, Shem's Burning Gaze, the Net, and Baronia's Time Warp.
And my first Firebelly magic had Fireball and the Flame Cage, and my Butcher Belly had a Cascading Fire Cloak and Flaming Sword of Ruin.
Now we'll run through deployment, and then we'll run into first turn. From memory, neither of us can remember. I think I may have deployed the first unit, and I also had first turn, but running deployment up from the top of the screen down to the bottom, I had 5 Scouting Horse Archers, 10 Archers, 10 Archers, the Ashabdi, 3 Carrion, then the big unit of 50 odd Archers, the Hero Buddy behind the Archers, Tomb Scorpion stayed at the back, just behind the Archers to protect the casket, 5 Horse Archers that vanguarded, the War Kitty on the very bottom, and the casket in the bottom left hand corner. Also the Stalkers decided to entomb.
And on the Ogre side, I put down the Kitten up the top there just to try and stop any scouts, but obviously I didn't measure correctly because he was able to sneak in his horses there. And then I had me Cannon Bolt and Mournfang with some Ogres behind. I mean, I thought the Mournfang would just zip up ahead and then that'll leave it some room for the Ogres, so I didn't really think too much about that. And then we've got more Ogres holding up the centre and keeping the leadership and BSB bubble. Then we've got the Lead Belchers, 2 units of Lead Belchers close together. I like having them close together just to focus fire. Firebelly, he'd sit inside one of the Belchers to buff them up. And then we've got Noblars in the back. I don't know what I was doing with these guys. There wasn't a good unit either way. Then Yetis on the flank because they're nice and fast, and another Kitty for the scout block.
Starting off with Tomb Kings turn 1, I'm going to kind of go through my notes and click through, so it might be a bit delayed. So for Tomb King's turn 1, the horse archers move over the river, end up rolling up Boiling Flood, which of course kills 2 of my horse archers. Everything else sort of moves up slightly, and then we run into Magic. For Magic, rolled up 7, so it was 4 plus 3. Their casket adds an additional 2 dice. There were no channels for either side, and then we get into casting some spells. So the casket does irresistible force on the Mournfang, but doesn't kill anything and doesn't bounce. We then cast Desert Wind, and the Shabdi move up, the archers move up. Pretty much everything that was in range moved up. Then we run into shooting, so the big unit shoots at the lead belchers and kills 1. One of the far units shoots, I'm assuming it's the one at the top of the screen, shoots at the saber tusk and takes a wound off him, and the other small unit takes a shot at the unit of bulls and takes off a single wound. It's no close combat, which brings us to Ogre Kingdom's turn 1.
Okay, and for the ogres, first off I got to move my cat. I want to march, get out of the way, and of course with the fantastic leadership 4 he fails, so he just runs up a little bit. Everything else just kind of smashes ahead, and since you can't really do much else, we go to Magic. It was only 5 this time, a 2 and a 3. I don't channel, but the TK, the Tomb Kings, they roll up 1 channel. I managed to get off a Flaming Cage. No wait, it was Flaming Sword. Cage and Sword, they're very similar. On the Lead Belcher unit. And they have a crack at the Hero Buddy. Managed to damage it 4 times. Me Cannon Bolt, it launches at the Titan as well. Misses, scatters and kills 4 archers. And then there's no combat either.
Alright, starting with Tomb King's turn 2. Basically, we do charges first, so the Ashabdi end up charging the 6-man bull unit and make it. Then we go into remaining moves where the Stalkers fail to turn up, and the horse archers in the top right hand corner move out of the river, and we lose another 1. Furthermore, the big archer block decides to do the old Elven shuffle, move backwards, and the carrion plonk themselves in front of the big ogre Death Star in the hope that
Try and block them up.
we can slow it down a little bit. Then we move, I think that's it for movement. The War Kitty moves up slightly, and my horse archers in the bottom of the screen are kind of blocked by the Mournfang. I'm quite happy to keep that Mournfang there. He can't get around me, so we left it at that, which then pushes us into the Tomb King's Magic phase, where I rolled up 8 dice, 5 and a 3. The casket added 1 dice. There were no further channels. The casket targeted the Mournfang. The dispel failed by 1, and I killed all the Mournfang. I did 6 wounds.
No more Mournfang.
No more Mournfang.
That was a very painful loss.
I was very happy. Then I did a 3 dice plus the extra for the Hero Buddy for desiccation on the big character bus. And I don't think... No, there was no dispel on that. That one went off. And there was the 3 dice plus 1 for fast protection, hoping for the -1 to hit and whatnot, and that one got scrolled. And then there was the 1 dice plus the extra D3 for smiting on the archers, and of course he dispelled that one as well, because who would want 100 odd shots on their big character bus? We move into shooting. So the 5 horse archers failed to shoot all of a meter away and don't kill the stupid saber tusk,
Which is what they do.
The large unit fires on the character bus, 14 hits, 8 wounds, and he saved 1. So I did kill a few ogres. Would have been a hell of a lot better if I had got smiting and desiccation firing on all cylinders. The 2 horse archers failed to kill the damn saber tusk. The 10 archers, they fire at the same saber tusk, kill it. They only do 1 wound, which, funnily enough, is enough to take it off. And the other 10 archers shoot at the 6 ogres, do 2 wounds, but both save. We move into close combat. Only one combat here. It's the Ashabdi versus the 6 ogre bulls. The ogres go first because I've got great weapons on my Ashabdi. They do 4 wounds and I save once. The Ashabdi do 9 wounds, 2 save from the ogre parry, and they break. One would think the Ashabdi would catch the ogre bulls,
Especially when the ogres only run 6.
but my slow old undead only manage a 3-inch chase. And that brings us to the end of Tomb King turn 2.
Okie doke, and then we have the ogre's turn. So there was a lot of charges here. Everything's getting a bit closer, so might as well punch it. So it's the scrap launcher, the cannon bolt, decides to charge the small block of 10 skeletons, makes it. Then my character bus charges the carrion, of course it's going to make it, it's only like a couple of inches away. The Yetis, they make a kind of risky charge onto the large archer block just to try and hold them up, and they make it.
And that killed me.
And the Sabertusk charges the horses way down the bottom there, only an inch away, makes it. Also, forgot to mention, I got a Gorger, surprise, and I didn't roll for him to turn up, so he's just sitting off in the back door, nothing. The Ogres, they got smashed in combat last round. They managed to rally, and I was pretty happy about that. I jumped my Noblars, that's what they're called, little goblins. They just move forward a little bit. I still don't know what I'm doing with them. I thought I was going to protect the ranks, but they're Noblars, they're not going to protect anything. And then we go to magic. So similar dice count as to the Tomb Kings, an 8, 5 and 3. No one channels this time. And here's probably the biggest thing in the game. I managed to cast Flame Cage on that huge archer block, and that kind of ruins his day.
I couldn't move when we get to combat. I couldn't move my Tomb Prince across to beat the Yetis up because I would take wounds.
Take hits for everything
Everything that moves.
in that.
And my Prince being flammable, I didn't want to take that risk.
Yeah. But you managed to dispel the Flaming Sword on the Belchers, and that'll help a little bit, but Flame Cage was a big one. Also gets Fire Cloak on the character bus, which does 5 wounds to the carrion since they're in combat, and it does wounds at the end of the magic phase. So fairly successful magic for me. Jumping the shooting, not much happens here. I just try and blast the War Kitty and only do 1 wound. So next is the combat phase. Hurrah! Yetis kill 7 skeletons because they're awesome. Skeletons only do 1 in return because they're not so awesome. And then I win by 4 because I'm even more awesome. And then the scrap launcher kills a small bunker and reforms to turn around.
Couldn't see that one coming. Just before we get into Tomb King's turn 3, we forgot to do the combat between the Sabertusk and the Horse Archers at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, I managed to do a couple of wounds because kitties are awesome. Horse Archers, I don't think they do anything.
I think from memory, you killed one, you had the charge, I did nothing, crumbled. And then I crumbled.
Yeah.
So I think that pretty much sums up that. After the big Skelly Archer combat to the Yetis combat reform, so they're wider. And that'll bring us to Tomb King turn 3. So basically the War Kitty moves up and around the big charges first. The Ashabdi charge the Ogre Bulls that they failed to catch the first time. I think that is it for charges. The Hero Buddy sort of moves himself up because he's only got one wound left anyway, in front of the character bus, just to redirect or slow the character bus down if possible. The stalkers land on the table.
This is the best bit.
The stalkers land on the table. They actually make it. They roll, and I roll a misfire, and of course I roll a 1, and they all die.
Hooray!
I wasn't very happy about that, because I reckon that those stalkers could have changed a couple of things in this game.
Yeah, with their laser eyes shooting at my low initiative, they'd clean up pretty quickly.
Yeah. But anyway, it's only a game. Also, before we go any further, the archers, one of the small archer bunkers, tried to charge the catapult, the ogre catapult, a scrap launcher, in the hope that it would get to them and stop the catapult from charging my big archer bunker in the flank, but failed by, like, they didn't even need much. I think it was only 5 or 6 on the dice, and I failed to get there.
Well, you're consistent.
Yeah, very. Which moves us then into the magic phase. So I rolled a 9 dice magic phase, 4 and a 5. The casket added 3, so I capped out, and the ogres channel a dice. First off, we started with the casket, and we targeted the character bus, which does 2 wounds. It bounced, but no wounds on the following unit. The next unit must have been the ogre bus unit at the back, I'm guessing, or possibly the lead belchers.
Yeah, I'd say the lead belchers.
But it didn't do anything, and then it ended. I cast fast protection on the archers, and he let that go. I went big net in the hope that he'd fail. He didn't dispel that one either. And big desiccation on the character bus, and he dispelled that because he didn't want to.
Yeah, that's a big dirty spell that I don't like.
Shooting was very minimal this turn for me, so I had the 2 little horse archers that couldn't cross the river try and shoot.
The little horse archers that couldn't.
Yeah, and they missed the bulls, and that was it for combat. For shooting, sorry. And then we move into combat. So we got the bulls versus the Shabby again. The ogres whack first with causing 4 wounds and 2 save. And then the Ashabdi hit back to 8 wounds. The ogres break and run again. And instead the Ashabdi decide just to reform this time. Moving over to the Yeti archer combat. The Yetis do 5 wounds to the Skellies, and of course my useless Skellingtons do nothing, because I still can't move my prince over to beat the living snot out of them. And the horse archers actually do a wound on the cat.
Oh no!
And the cat does nothing.
Oh no!
Then, of course, the cat breaks.
No! At leadership 4, it's pretty easy for it to break.
These are skeleton horse archers. They're not meant to win combat. And I think, from memory, that'll bring it to the end of Tomb King's turn 3.
So with the Tomb King 3 down, up for turn 4 with the Ogres. Now, turn 3 of the Ogres. Blech, 4 and 3, I don't know. I'm looking at 3 and I'm saying 4. I don't know what's going on. So, charges. We don't have much since a lot of the stuff's already in combat. The Ogre character bus passed their net, charged the giant. Hooray! My poor little Ogre that got beat the snot out of by the Ashabdi didn't rally, ran off the table, and the cat, it got chased off the board, and the horse archers followed in that previous turn, so they're off the board too. So everything just kind of shuffles about a bit, because I can't really do much else. Noblars still don't know what they're doing. I think here I'm thinking maybe I can get those Noblars into the Shubbity-Dubbity so they can just hold them up. Maybe give me a couple of turns of shooting on them, because that's a painful unit in combat against all my stuff. So that's what I try. The scrap launcher makes it into the side of that archer block.
That was
which,
a big ouchie.
yeah, I'm feeling quite confident now. And that brings us to magic, basically. Oh, my Gorger pops up. Before anything else, my Gorger pops up. Hooray! So I got to stick him in front of the casket because he's not going to do anything else.
My poor casket.
Hooray!
Waves goodbye, pretty much.
Yeah.
Anyway, move on to magic.
Magic. So rolling up a 6 and a 2, giving us 8. Tomb Kings managed to roll 1 channel. The flame cage is dispelled on the archers, so that kind of hurts, but it's really done its job. The flaming sword didn't go off this time, and so I just bugger it. I'll shoot a fireball at his lone light mage, which kind of bailed in the previous turn.
Ah, yeah, I forgot about that, yeah.
Because he didn't want to die,
Yeah.
but now he dies. And that takes us to shooting. Both lead belchers shoot at the Yashabdi. Again, like, I needed to get rid of that unit. And they do 7 wounds, which I thought was a decent result.
I think it was
happy
pretty
with that.
good.
Yeah. And boink to combat. Scrap launcher, crunch into the side. And the Yetis doing their Yeti thing kills 7 skeletons, and I do 2 wounds on your... It's a Lord Mage, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a level 4. I probably should have mentioned that I was playing Undead Legions version of the Tomb King list. Just all Tomb Kings under Undead Legions. So even if the Nehek Mage dies, it's not a Hierophant like in the normal Tomb King book, so I don't crumble anyway.
I mean, it's still a loss, but at least it's better than what you have with Tomb Kings.
Yeah. And
so he's now on 1 wound left.
Yep, correct.
I think that's all that we've got for that turn, which brings us to the turn 4 of Tomb Kings.
Alright, before we get into Tomb King turn 4, probably forgot to mention what happened with the big Yeti chariot combat. Not so much what happened in it, but the result. So I ended up losing quite a few skeletons to the crumble. But at the end of the day, my unit's still alive, and that's all that matters. Alright, so we move on to Tomb King turn 4. We'll start with the charges. So the big old war kitty jumps into the character buffs because he's a boss. The small skeleton archer unit that failed to charge the chariot last turn, or the catapult, sorry, charges the rear of the catapult this turn. The horse archers return to the table, into the forest, and one falls over.
They don't like running through terrain.
No. And the Yashabdi do a reform, so they're now 5 wide instead of what was 4 by 2. That moves us into the magic phase. So, rolled up 6 plus 3. So, we've got 9 in total. The casket added an additional 3 dice. So I'm capped at 12, and the ogres don't channel. I do a 2 dice casket on the Gorger that's right in front of me, right in front of the casket. Fails.
Nothing.
Fails. I do a big protection in the hope. I'm doing a bubble protection in the hope that I can regenerate a couple of wounds, and hope that my archer unit survives just that wee bit longer. I throw 5 dice at this, and one would think on 5 dice it's probably...
But this is you we're talking about.
Yeah, I roll like a muppet.
Yeah.
And you'll see in future battle reports I just roll like a muppet. So that fails, and that pretty much ends my magnificent magic phase.
Stellar performance.
We move to shooting, and there's...
What shooting? What are you talking about?
Nothing happens. Oh, my stupid little horse archers couldn't hit. And this one over here obviously didn't hit the one at the bottom of the screen. So, nothing in shooting. We move to combat. So, to start things off, we'll go with the Yeti combat. The Yetis do 3 wounds and 2 stomps. The scrap launcher kills my level 4 in the hex, so my magic's pretty much gone out the window.
Yeah.
The Nobbler kill 1 skeleton. Oh, off the chariot, off the scrap launcher.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep, now that makes sense. The prince finally can make way because Flame Cage isn't on the unit anymore, and he kills a Yeti. And the last Yeti that's there is left on 2 wounds. The War Kitty combat, the Tyrant fails to wound the kitty, the Bruiser fails to wound the kitty, the Fire Belly fails to wound the kitty because he's so tough.
Yeah.
And I start my attacks. I do the Breath Weapon, which only does 2 wounds, which was a wee bit disappointing. The Tomb Guard on top.
No, that was my Fire Belly Breath Weapon to try and do
Oh,
something.
sorry.
Yeah. So I do 2 wounds with the breath, but all their attacks, nothing.
Yeah, that's right, because I've got cat here, and I've spelled it incorrectly on my game notes. Then we move over to the kitty's attacks. So the Tomb Guard on top, they've targeted the Fire Belly and fail miserably. The kitty cat does 2 wounds on the Fire Belly, and then I do the Breath Weapon, which deals 3 unsaved wounds. The cat somehow manages to win this combat by 1, and the Ogres hold on a roll of 3, which was really disappointing because if the kitty cat had ran them down, I was probably bringing the game back.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah. And that brings us to the end of Tomb King's turn 4.
Then the Ogres for turn 4. So everything's just about in combat, and whatever's not in combat I don't really want in combat, except for the Gorger. Hooray! He charges the casket because that's what he's supposed to do.
And the casket cries.
And the casket cries. Dust tears because he's a Tomb King. So we move straight to magic. A pretty low round this time. 4 and 1 gives us 5 because that's maths. No one channels. And I managed to cast Flaming Sword on the character bus because I need that. With that kitten in the way, it's a bit hard to hit. I try for another Fire Cloak, it doesn't go through.
I dispelled that one.
And then, boom, 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 with the belches on the Ushabti with the shooting. 10 wounds. Piss off, you Ushabdi-dubbity. We don't like you.
Spoony cries.
And Spoony cries. Combat. So as you'd expect, the Gorger kills the casket, and as the casket does, it explodes. It does 2 wounds, and the Scorpion's in range of the blast, but the Scorpion survives.
It's the Scorpion that can.
Scorpion hasn't done anything yet. He has to do something.
But he survives.
He survives.
Oh, that's a spoiler, sorry.
Yeah, spoiler alert, watch it. So, in the combat with the kitty, I managed to take it out with combat res, which is good. That's a problem out of the way. But in return, the kitty managed to kill my defenseless Fire Belly because he can't hit anything else.
Poor kitty.
And the archers win combats against the Yeti and the launcher by 1, but they both hold, so you can't get rid of me that easy. Everything else kind of shuffles about as it does in my movement also that I forgot to mention. And we're getting close to the end of the game, so this brings us to the Tomb King's turn 5.
Right, so moving into Tomb King's turn 5, not a lot happens here. The game's pretty much done and dusted. The Ushabti charged the unit of 6 Ogres, otherwise they're just going to get lead belched into next week. The Scorpion tries to charge the Yetis to help the poor old prince out, but fails.
Fails by 1.
1 inch, yeah, I'm very consistent, failing by 1 inch. I'm pretty sure that small unit of archers failed by 1 or 2 a couple of turns ago. A single horse archer tries to hide from the lead belches and runs into the forest, and of course, can you guess what happened? The horse archer dies.
Boink.
Shooting, well, after that,
What shooting? What do you
there's
call it?
no shooting really at all. I don't think the small archer unit does anything. I think it's still in combat
it's still
at this point
combat.
in time.
Yeah.
And we move to... Oh, there's no magic because the casket's dead. All my mages are dead. The hero buddy's dead. So we move straight into combat, which is very, very short. The Yeti and the Scrap Launcher kill 2 Skellies. The Prince lets loose on the Yetis and kills the remaining Yeti. The Skellies do 1 wound on the Scrap Launcher, which was quite unbelievable, and the launcher breaks. And the tough old Prince chases it down.
Insert 80s action music.
Maybe he needs a montage.
Yeah, maybe.
The Ogre Bulls... Oh, sorry, moving over to the Ashabdi combat. The Ogre Bulls killed the last two Ashabdi. Oh, poor guys just felt the shooting and couldn't keep up. It was all over.
So I might as well just move on just to turn 5 of my ogres, since this is pretty much it. So the character bus just charges the skellies in the flank. Well, what's left of the skellies, that small unit of 10, or 6 now. And magic, there's no point casting any magic because this is all I've got to run into, and then bleh, dead. All done.
Before we finish up though, there were some funny elements. The scorpion that could.
Yeah, the scorpion that didn't do anything, tried to do something, and then saw at the end of the game, I can't do anything, and tries to run away, and I try to focus everything that I can to get rid of it.
Have faith in Scorpion,
Have
people.
faith in Scorpion. Scorpion is
He
king.
lived. The poor prince died.
You need to name that Scorpion now.
Maybe next time I'll run 3 scorpions.
Yeah.
I think the next thing we do is we'll run into like a debrief or an overview or whatever you want to call it.
That's something.
So we'll run into a bit of a debrief, go through army lists and some stupid moves and some game changes and whatnot before we sign off for the first direct Misfire battle report.
Now, this isn't your normal list. You just wanted to take a ton of archers
Yeah.
in one block.
Yeah. Look, I've played Tomb Kings for about 4-ish years, I think. I don't know. Whenever the Tomb King book come out, so it's probably getting on 4 years.
Yeah.
And this isn't a normal army list. I'd run. Usually, I run a big Tomb Guard horde and a few other bits and pieces. Completely different to this. It was a bit of fun. This was just to do sort of our first battle report and get it out there.
See how it all turned out.
Yeah, just something different, I guess.
Yeah, and with the Ogre army, because I've been playing with the Ogres for a similar amount of time when the Ogre book came out, and I wanted to give 2 fire bellies a go.
It's just nice to try something different,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
And I could have definitely gone harder with my Tyrant, because he was just a Tyrant.
Oh,
Didn't really have any kit.
I think
thought,
both
bugger
of
it.
us probably could have gone a bit harder with our lists.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't take a skill cannon.
No.
Um,
I like the scrap launcher. It's cheap. It's a chariot. It doesn't do much in shooting.
it's nowhere near as good as a skill
No,
cannon.
I suppose not.
That's 10 inches from the back. Take it off.
Yeah.
How much harder could it
Yeah,
get?
that's fair enough.
So
Mistakes.
yeah, mistakes, stupid moves. From the Tomb King side, being so aggressive with my archer block, my big archer block straight off the bat was probably a stupid move.
Yeah, you don't want to get those guys up close. You just want to sit back and shoot.
Yeah, and I think that comes from, I guess, not having the experience of running so many archers. I would normally, at most, run about 20 archers, and it'd only be a bunker of 20 to bunker back then, the Hierophant in. And it's usually the rest of the army that deals with everything else coming at me. So,
Because you got one good turn of shooting that game?
yeah, and then the Flame Cage and the Yetis charging me. I didn't expect the Yetis to make the combat, but it is a dice game. These things do sort of happen.
Moving 7 Swift Strides also...
It's
not
reliable.
bad, yeah.
Yeah.
But that certainly helped just getting him in so early.
Yeah, I think it was a big charge from memory, though. It wasn't I don't think it was a...
It would have been like an 8 or 9.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was failable. But other stupid Tomb King moves, moving my horse archers through forests and rivers.
You should learn from your mistakes.
Never
You and
again.
terrain and
Yeah,
dice.
me and dice, we don't get
Yeah.
along. I guess, you got any stupid moves you want to go over?
Moves for me? No, I think I've played a perfect game. No, I think
That's
those
rubbish.
those Noblars. I don't know what I
Yeah.
was doing. They just sat there in the back. That was a waste of 2 points.
Maybe they should have been deployed at the front somewhere to get in the
Normally-
way of my kitty or...
Yeah, I keep them before my lead belchers. Usually lead belchers can see over Noblars because they're so small and not incur any penalties.
Yeah.
So I like to use them as a speed bump.
Yep.
And I like them in 15 because I've also found that if I've somehow managed to get them into the flank, of another unit, they can break,
Disrupt. Yeah,
the
disrupt the
enemy
unit. Yeah.
which is a nice little bonus. But this game, they didn't do anything. I also think with your Scorpion, I think it was angled wrong because it's there to protect the casket.
It was, but I could only protect one side because the kitty moved away.
Because if you put it a bit further out and had it look at the casket, I would have to deploy either behind the Scorpion or face a charge from.
Ah, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably could have thought about that a bit better.
Anyways,
But
that's what happens.
Things you learn after the game. Hindsight is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it's always 2020.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it was a fairly regular game for me. But that's Archer block moving and me getting Flame Cage on was probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think so. The fact I couldn't move my prince over to help my skeletons made a big difference. Whilst I think it's only 3 attacks, he was strength 6.
Mm.
The extra wounds that he can potentially cause may have broke the Yetis a bit earlier and might have saved me from that catapult.
Those Yetis held that Archer up for a long time.
Yeah, yep. And while that's happening, I'm not shooting X amount of shots at whatever was coming at me.
Yeah.
But again, that's a what if.
Either way, it was a fun game.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it. Looking forward to the next one. So we'll just leave it there. Thanks for listening, watching, doing whatever. Hopefully you tune into the next one.
Next time it'll be hopefully a bit better game on my half. But hopefully I'll be taking my new Slaaneshi demon army that I'm hoping to take to Moonstruck, depending on whether I get it painted in time.
Yeah, we've got from date of recording about a month, just over.
Yeah, just over a month. So all I've finished is my infantry at the moment, so there's still quite a bit to go. But I'm going as hard as I can. Hopefully it gets finished.
Yeah, you'll be right. Alright, so this is Ben.
And Spoon.
And this is Direct Misfire signing off.
Bye.
Bye.